Marshall, thanks for being part of a really juicy conversation about moving from traditional to digital. You mentioned in our conversation the importance of context. If content is king, then context is just as important.
Yeah.
Can you tell our viewers a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so content essentially is one part of the mix. It's got to be delivered to the right message, to the right audience, at the right time, in the right environment. So you've got far more elements than just a message. If it's delivered to the wrong audience, great content's no longer great content. So many elements need to be added to that to truly get the engagement where it needs to be.
I can imagine that in your field there would be many kind of dream campaigns where you really harness the power of context. Can you give me an example of a dream one?
Yeah, I'd love to be able to digitise Central Station in Brisbane, which is obviously the largest train or transport hub in the city. 100,000 people go through every day, fully submersed in an environment, surrounded by walls, and to have digital either side of the platforms, on the platforms, sound incorporated, would make for a very compelling environment to be able to deliver all sorts of messages. There's all sorts of cool things you can do with technology with regards to ambient noise or automatic ambient noise readers, so we can go up when trains come in, we can go down when messages are being portrayed, so you truly get the opportunity to take away all the distraction and make sure the message is being delivered in the best possible way.
Geez, that'd be a pretty powerful offer to your clients in terms of advertising.
I'd love to have an advertisement follow you off the platform as you took off in the train and got up to 100 k's more.
Oh, that is too cool for school. We'll wait for QR to see the light and come and talk to you about how you do that. And in the meantime, thanks once again, Marshall. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Glenn, thanks for being part of a great conversation. We talked about QR codes briefly tonight, why they're not working, and you had some insights into how we can start using audio in similar ways. Can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, there's a lot of new marketing ideas around using audio, because you can use audio in different spaces than you can visual. For example, you can listen to it over the radio, and apps such as Shazam, which are able to record a small snippet of sound and then be able to go online and retrieve information about it. You can use it similar to a QR code. So we're seeing companies play their jingle or a piece of music, whether it be on a TV, radio, or even in a public space, and on a mobile device you can listen into that and then have the promotional event or the product details flash up on the mobile screen, which it's very clever.
So that links in quite nicely with what Marshall was just talking about. I guess my concern though with something like Shazam and driving consumers is how do we make it compelling enough and long enough, same with the QR code, by the time I get to my QR code reader and all that jazz. So can you give us some examples of how it could be used?
I think, particularly with augmented reality, it's all about having a pretty novel way of interacting with the products. And what's really interesting about augmented reality, it kind of bridges the gap between a purely kind of virtual technology approach and still a physical product. And I think one of the best examples I've seen is Lego. You can get the little Lego box which has, make a car out of it, and you kind of look at the picture of it, it's very hard to visualize. But with augmented reality, you can look at it through your phone and actually pick the box up, and as you move the box around, a 3D model is floating in front of you, and you can spin it around, turn it on its side. And what that's driving is interaction with the product, and something you just cannot do with any type of traditional media. It's just a three-dimensional box. And now with this floating three-dimensional virtual construct in front of it, you can interact with it, you can push it around, and if you see kids interacting with it, it's a completely new way of interacting with products and crossing that barrier between the digital world and the traditional physical product-based world.
Awesome. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Nathan, thanks for being part of a great conversation. One of the topics that we touched on was how do we convince our traditional marketing managers, CEOs, finance managers that digital is worth investing in?
It's a bit of a tricky one. I think I've got a 3-step process.
Okay.
That I tend to use, and it's kind of a backwards process because I've figured out that I do it this way instead of actually trying to go this way, but I tend to have 3 steps, and I've had to write them down here. The first is the inspiration, and I think that's all about showing them what's being done, whether it's by competitors or whether it's by similar brands that are being done overseas, or whether it's statistics that's coming out from Nielsen or wherever it's coming out from, to go, look, hey, this is all happening out there. If that doesn't get through, move on to the second step, and the second step is all about involvement.
Okay.
So often if you talk to a boss or a CEO and you go, the kids are tweeting this or they're Instagramming that or they're, whatever it is, doesn't necessarily have to be social, it could be the way people search. Actually showing them how it works.
Yeah.
So for example, picking up a mobile phone, starting up the Twitter app and going, tweet, attach photo, hashtag, tweet, this is how people are using it in real life.
Okay.
So they actually understand it's a real human behaviour.
Yeah.
And then if the third one doesn't work, and I think I phrased this wrong tonight, I actually said just go out and do it, which isn't what I meant. But do some experiments to actually then have some proof that this kind of stuff does work.
Okay.
So say you're running a search campaign, or you're saying, look, search is a really great vehicle for us.
Yep.
Invest $5 or $10 per week running search terms that you think could work. And this doesn't necessarily have to be on the brand or business that you're working on, because obviously you don't want to go behind people's backs and do stuff. But it could be your own side project, and kind of go, look, I've tried this and this is what it's done for my side project, or this is what my own Facebook account's doing. Here's some proof that this stuff works.
And this is what we could be doing with our brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, cool. So it's about making it more real for them.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nathan, thanks once again for being part of the conversation as always. Awesome.
Thanks, Kat.